Now I want you to do that same motion again, and I want you to hold it there. Okay, so bring your hand back towards me and keep it right there. Don't let me push down on you. What I'm looking for with the rotation, internal external rotation, is where are you stabilizing? Because if you don't stabilize the shoulder and the scapula, try and hold it right there. Don't let me push you. Invariably, what's going to happen is her entire arm is going to move. So you need to stabilize here and then apply your force down pretty close to the wrist. Okay, then bring it back down. And now I want you to try and bring your hand back towards me again. So I assessed for normal a minute ago. I just assessed for good muscle grade right there. Then bring your arm down at your side. And I want you to keep your elbow right where it is and bring your hand out towards me. Okay, and then bring it back in. And again, typically for POR, you're gonna support the arm as well. Not a bad idea to do that. I'm going to tell you what muscles and the innervation of those muscles. All right. Did I do okay? Pass it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me have you stand up over here. Any questions so far? That's the shoulder, right? We're good? Okay. Elbow. Let me have you stand facing towards the window, please. And what I'm going to have you do now is we're going to assess your ability to bend your elbow, bring your hand up to your shoulder, and I'm going to do that in 3 different positions. The first one we're going to do is with your palm facing towards your shoulder, and then we're going to do it with your palm away from the shoulder, and then we're going to do it in the thumbs up position. Okay? So first one I want you to do is just move your hand forward and then try and touch your shoulder, and let it back down, and then turn your palm the other direction and try and touch your shoulder, back down. And then your thumbs up position and try and touch your thumb to your shoulder. Okay? And so we're going to duplicate that, and I'm going to put some resistance against you. Okay? So first one is palm forward and try and touch your shoulder, and then hold it right there. Okay? So bring it up and hold it. Don't let me pull out on you. All right. And let it back down. And now I want you to do that same motion again, and I'm going to apply some resistance as you move it. Bring it back up. This is for good muscle grade, and I'm testing for biceps. The brake test was for biceps, and this is for biceps. And you'll need to tell me that when you go through the eval. If you forget, I'll ask you which muscles you test for, and I wouldn't take off for that because you're in the muscle testing mode, and you're not really thinking about the specifics there. Now I want you to turn your palm the other direction, and bring your hand up to your shoulder, and then hold it right there. Let me push down. That's the normal, or testing for normal for brachialis, and let it back down again. I'm sorry, can y'all see? Try and bring that same movement again. Bring it up. Stabilizing the upper arm, basically, and my resistance is close to the wrist. Okay, and then back down. And now I want you in the thumbs up position, and try and touch your thumb to your shoulder. Hold it right there, don't let me push out. Testing brachioradialis for normal, and then back down. And then try and bring it back up again. All right, moderate resistance on test of good muscle strength for brachioradialis. And then gravity eliminated. Let's keep you in the thumbs up position there and try to touch your shoulder. Brachioradialis for poor muscle grade, bring it back out. And then palm facing forward. And touch your shoulder again. Testing for biceps. And then turn your palm around towards me. Kind of strange position there, but try and touch your shoulder now. That's testing for brachialis. Okay? And you'll tell me what muscles and innervation of those muscles. The next one we're going to do is we're going to bring your arm out to the side like so, like a scarecrow position there, and I'm going to have you straighten your elbow out. Okay, so go ahead and straighten out your arm, your elbow, and bring it back down. That's fair muscle grade for elbow extension. Now bring it back out again, and hold it right there. Don't let me push you down. Okay, so hold that position. Okay, and then let it go back down. And now I want you to try and straighten it back out again, and I'm going to give some resistance as you do it. So straighten your arm out and back down. Now, in actuality, in the clinic, Tatiana would be one of those that I would probably test in this position rather than out the side, just because she trying to get full internal rotation. See how her shoulder's kind of having to hike forward to get internal rotation anywhere close to 90. And that's going to vary from person to person, but her comfortable internal rotation is about 60 degrees here. Anything beyond that, and the shoulder's having to cheat a little bit. So probably the best way for her would be in this position, straightening her arm out. But for the practical exam, that's not going to be a huge issue. I'm not going to take off. Just know that in the clinic, if you have a patient that can only go this far for internal rotation, then you're not really assessing totally against gravity. So your best bet then is to go back here and do extension back that way. Or lay them down on the mat and do elbow extension in that position. So for poor muscle grade, I'm going to have you bring your hand to your shoulder. And then I want you to try and straighten your arm out towards me. Okay. And testing triceps, radial nerve, all that good stuff. And you don't need to worry about Anconius. I think, does it have Anconius in the book? Okay. That's one that I draw an exception to because Anconius doesn't do a whole lot with elbow extension. If your triceps are out, Anconius really doesn't make up the difference there for extension. Okay.
I'm sorry, was that the same position though? What you had in? How'd you do
For extension? Yeah, going out this way.
what about against gravity?
Against gravity was this way.
Okay, so we went just like that.
Yeah. All right, so that's the elbow. Now I'm going to have you in this position right here and open up your palm. And yeah, go ahead and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. This is the kind of stuff you got put up with in the clinic too. So we do this on purpose to simulate the real clinic. Code Brown. All right. Okay, so what I want you to do is turn your palm up just like that. Okay. What motion am I assessing? Supination. Oh, I got to stay in patient. I'm sorry, I'm in therapist mode here. So okay, back down. And I want you to do that position again, and then hold it right there. Don't let me move you out of that. And remember, for supination, pronation, that's the one where getting your hand in the right position to test is tough. And I don't know if I really explained this very well last week, but one of the best ways to do that would be, it's almost like you're shaking the patient's hand, except you miss their palm. Okay, so when you're shaking their hand, you're actually down in this position. And that way you can, so it doesn't necessarily have to be totally on the forearm, because if you're totally on the forearm, you run the risk of really twisting your skin and making it uncomfortable for the patient. So, I mean, you can be on the wrist. Typically what I try and do is to get the base of my palm on the base of her palm. And that's the position that I'll test in. So, and the tricky thing about supination and pronation is making sure you're putting resistance in the proper direction. So she is supinating right now, and what I want you to do is try and hold that position. Don't let me turn your palm over, okay? So hold right there. And typically you're going to stabilize at the elbow, apply resistance at the wrist, okay? And so I just tested for normal muscle grade, and I'm putting the resistance. I'm trying to take her out of supination, and she's holding that. And now I want you to turn your palm back down. And what we're going to do now is I want you to try and turn your palm up, and I'm going to make it tough on you, okay? So turn the palm up. Okay? That's for good muscle grade. For supination, bring you up right here, and turn your palm towards me. And now I want you to turn the palm around back towards you. That's testing for poor muscle grade supination. And for, I'll tell you the muscles and the innervation. Now for, I feel like I can't get in a good position here to, let me have you turn your palm down towards the floor, and then bring it back up. Turn the palm back down towards the floor again, and hold it right there. Again, I'm doing the handshake position, but I missed her palm, okay? And hold right there, don't let me turn your palm up. All right, now let's go ahead and turn your palm up now. And what I want you to do now is turn your palm down towards the floor, and I'm going to make it tough on you, okay? That's testing for good muscle strength right there. All right, and testing for poor. Bring your palm so you're looking at it, so now turn your palm around so that it's facing towards me. Okay, that's pronation. For poor muscle grade, and then back down. Okay. All right. Chris, can I borrow your chair? Good. And then, Tatiana, let me let you have a seat right here, please. And I'm going to have you with your hand over the edge of the treatment table right there. And if I'm gonna do it this way first, and then I'll get out of the way so y'all can do this. But typically, if you're doing the test in the clinic, you want to be facing your patient. Okay. So what I want you to do is try and lift your wrist up towards the ceiling. Okay. So that's wrist extension. fair muscle grade. Now I want you to lift it back up again. Okay, let it back down. And actually what I want you to do now is make kind of an easy fist. And don't tighten up too much, and lift your hand up towards the ceiling. And then hold it right there, and don't let me push down on you. And what I'm going to push down and towards the pinky. Okay? So hold right there. Okay? And then hold that position and let me push you the other direction. And I'm pushing down and towards the thumb. And that's what I want you to tell me on the practical, because I can't tell which direction you're applying force. So you'll just tell me, I'm pushing down and towards the pinky for extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. I'm pushing down towards the thumb for extensor carpi ulnaris. All right? So you're going to be telling me, this will be a little bit different. You're telling me what muscles you're testing before we ever get to trace. Because I want to know you're testing the radial wrist extensors by pushing your ulnar. You're testing the ulnar wrist extensors by pushing your radial. Okay? And then turn your palm up this way. And actually right in that position right there. And I want you to move your hand back that direction. Okay? And then relax. And that's for core muscle grade for wrist extension. Boy, the thing we have to put up with as therapists is noise and everything else. All right. And let me turn you over this way. And what I want you to do now is bring your palm up towards the ceiling. Okay? And let it back down. Wrist flexion against gravity. And let's do that same motion again. Pick it up. And then hold it right there. And I'm pushing down and towards the pinky. And I'm testing flexor carpi radialis. I'm pushing down and towards the thumb. Testing flexor carpi ulnaris. Okay? Now let's turn you in the thumbs up position right here. And I want you to bring your hands in towards you. That's core muscle grade, wrist flexion. And remember, for the wrist, you don't have to test for good muscle strength. You just have to do the break test, basically. If you can push somebody out of the break test pretty easy, then that's good muscle strength. Okay? So you don't have to do a specific test for the wrist. That's really the only exception for not doing testing for good, is the wrist. And when you get to the fingers, it's the same way. So we won't be doing that here right now. All right. Does that make sense? All right. So the next, let's say the next 45